I hope that kind of has led you and has helped you put you on the path to answering your question. But thank you very, very, very much for the question. I really appreciate it. I thought it was a great question. Okay, so that then leads us on to the next one, which says, I am 17 and my parents have yet to buy me a car while all my friends have one. How do I tell them that they need to get me one? Okay, so I'm going to answer this question as if I was your brother, as if we're literally brothers and we're having a conversation. You've come to me and you said this to me. So I'm going to be frank because I have a brother who is just literally just gone through this very situation. So I can really talk directly to you. Well, the first thing that I would share with you is that you need to be grateful. You need to be grateful of the fact that you even have parents who would, in you saying that you kind of feel upset, this tells me that in some way you must have a relationship with your parents which is so good in that you almost feel entitled to getting a car, right? With the way that you've rephrased your question, you're phrasing it in such a way that you would suggest that it's almost ridiculous that your parents are not giving it to you. Why wouldn't they give it to you? Which means you have a sense of entitlement, which I'll get to in a second. But I would firstly begin off with how grateful you are to have parents who are still together, who are still married, who love you, who care for you, who are there for you, right? And the other thing that I would share is, isn't it interesting that your parents are in such a way that they've actually been okay to say no to you? Because one of the things that I'm going to be talking about, one of the questions, in fact, it is the next question that I'm going to be talking about, is somebody asked, why do some parents give their children everything, right? Isn't it so, aren't you so grateful in your life that you have parents who are brave enough and courageous enough to say no to you? To be able to say, no, we know this is what you want, but at the moment we think you should work hard for it, we think you should do this or do that, or you're not ready for it. And we want you to do so well that we're prepared to say no to you. That's the first thing that I would share with you. And maybe you've never even really considered that before. But I think a lot of receiving in life comes from firstly being grateful for what you have. Because when you're grateful for what you have, then it leaves room for you to receive more, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing that I would share with you is my sisters have a phrase which they used to say to me, which I found fascinating. They say to me that, Kasim, comparison is a thief of all joy. What my sisters meant by that is that the easiest way to become unhappy in your life is to consistently keep comparing yourself to other people. Yeah, but mum, they have a better car than I do. Yeah, well, mum, but they have A stars and I don't. Yeah, but look, they have a bigger house than me. Yeah, but look, here's what I would share with you, being somebody who's, lived life quite a fair bit now. It doesn't end. The comparison game never ends, which means that you will never be happy, ever, ever. Because there's always going to be somebody who's got more money than you, who is happier than you, who's got a more buff than you, a more bigger muscles than you, they've got a better girlfriend than you. So there's always going to be somebody who's got a bigger company than you, a better car than you, a faster car than you, a newer car than you. There's always going to be somebody who dresses better than you, who's more designer than you are. There's always going to be somebody who is better than you in every aspect of life, right? And so if you start playing this comparison game, it's a game which you will never win. You're always going to lose because there's always going to be somebody who's better, which means you'll never be satisfied. You will never be happy. And so when you start phrasing this question as, well, Kasim, they have a car and I don't, it also puts you in a position where you are not in control. Because what it means is that you're a victim. It means, and now I want to talk a little bit about entitlement, because what you're also saying is, in some way, they are more endowed than you are. In some way, they're more special than what you are, and therefore, they've been able to receive something that you cannot receive. And the reality of life is that your friends' circumstances and the reasons why their parents are giving them their cars are really none of your business, right? Um, the reason why they're getting this or they're getting that is really none of your business, right? And what I would share with you is, if you are concentrating on what other people have, that also means that you're not focusing on you. It also means that you are not focusing on being more productive, on saving, on what is important to you. One of the things that I want to share with you, and it's been a life lesson that I have learned, is focus on what matters. Does it really matter that you have a car right now? Really? In your life, at this point in your life, is that the absolute most paramount thing? And I say this to you because I coach a lot of leaders and a lot of people who are very successful. And one of the biggest problems that they have is that they are living in a world where they're constantly being distracted. There is this, I was journaling and I was writing some notes about how you can win, how you can get an edge today. And one of the things that I wrote down is to have what I call radical focus. If you want to get ahead and you want to have an edge today in today's world, and you want to become a winner and you want to compete at the highest levels and have all the abundance and joy that anyone can ever receive, you need to be able to learn how to radically focus, how to essentially stay on one thing and focus on what matters. The average person cannot focus on what matters. The average person cannot focus on what is important. We live in this world where all of us are constantly being distracted by Facebook, by Instagram, by the car, by other people's bodies, by the latest fashion. Literally, we live in a world of distractions. And actually, today, it isn't the most talented or the most gifted or the cleverest people who are going to succeed. It's going to be the ones who are average, but they can focus and continue doing the same thing over and over and over again over a sustained period of time. And so what I would share with you is, you want to begin to develop this habit of focusing radically now. Because the quicker that you develop this habit when you're younger, the easier it's going to become for you. And you know, if you're 17 now, you should know exactly what I mean, right? It is so easy. The moment your phone goes off, you're on Instagram, you scroll through Instagram, and now you're half an hour later. Where the hell is half an hour gone, right? That's how easy it is. So what I would share with you is, you need to learn to focus on what matters. And the question that I would ask you is, and now this is where you're becoming a big boy, this is where you're becoming mature, this is where you're becoming an adult now, is that you want to ask yourself, is me having a car really what matters today? Because the better you become at asking those kind of intelligent questions, the more successful you're going to be. Because if you can focus on what is important right now and everyone around you is being distracted, you are going to get ahead faster than most people. Which means, yes, right now you may look like shit, but in 2 years you're going to be more successful than other people, right? The other thing that, going back to it, that I wanted to talk a little bit about is this entitlement thing. So I spend a lot of time with successful people, and one of the things the problems that successful people struggle a lot with is taking risks, is winning. A lot of successful people actually end up getting stuck when they become successful. And the reason for this is that when a lot of people become successful, they don't want to reinvent themselves. They don't want to take another risk. They don't want to start all over again. And part of the reason they don't want to start again is because they're scared, and they ask themselves this question: can I do it again? Is it possible that I can create what I built? And the way that you start living in that space and that mindset is when you haven't built something yourself. If you have built a car and you know exactly how you put each piece together, then it means if the car breaks, it doesn't matter, because you can work backwards and figure out what the issue is with the problem. Here's the problem: if I give you a car and your car breaks, it's like freaking, it could be a million problems wrong with the car. Do you understand? And so if you really want to become a true winner, and you really want to excel beyond normal results, what I would share with you is, you need to start earning what you want in life. Which means, and this is your genuine advice that I would give to you if you're my brother, you've got to pay for the money. And this is actually what I would do. And this is genuinely the advice that I would tell you. I would figure out the car that you want, and then not that you want, but that is, you know, a reliable car. And then I would save half the money. Don't tell your parents, don't tell your dad about it, don't tell your mum about it. All you want to do is start saving the money. That means you want to start taking part-time jobs. Dad, can I wash your car this weekend for 20 pounds? Mum, can I cut the grass? Mum, can I do the cooking this weekend, but I want £5 for it? Right? This is now where you start being a hustler, when you start thinking outside the box, when you start becoming creative. The people who win at life are not the people who have the biggest amount of resources. The people who win at life are the ones who have a lot of very few, just average resources, but they're resourceful about what they have. They're creative, they think outside the box, they hustle, they work harder than everybody else, right? Those are the people that always win. You know the story of the turtle and the hare. The turtle, even though the turtle is slower, over the long haul, because he is more consistent, he ends up winning. And so this is what you've got to start thinking like. Winners think long term. Winners are consistent but slow over a long period of time. Do not. Life is going to give you all these sort of honeypots, and it's going to give you all of these kind of glimmering, shimmering diamonds, and it's going to give you all of these shiny things that you think, oh yeah, imagine if I had that car, how cool I'd look and how amazing my life would be. See, that's a shiny gold that's luring you into the trap. Step away from it. You want to be clever and think, hold on a minute. There's no such thing as something for nothing. Nothing in this world is for free. So why would this so be what? Let me give you a piece of advice. If anything seems too good to be true, 9 times out of 10 it is. If your parents give you a car for free, that means it's a trap. Why would somebody give you something for nothing? Why? That makes no sense, right? Why would your parents take all their money and give you a car for free? For what reason? Right? So you want to start thinking, why are my parents giving me a car for free? What's going on? What are they getting out of this? That's the kind of mindset you want to be thinking about. This is where you think, and the better you become at thinking and making better decisions, the more of a winner you're going to become. Thank you very, very much for the question. So that leads us on to the next question, which says, why do some parents let their 18-year-old kids do whatever it is that they want? What a question. Wow, I love that question. Okay, so great question. Thank you very much for the question. Let me answer the question. So I've wrote down loads of things for this. There's so many different reasons for this, but let me begin off with a few. So the first reason is